Oh my gosh! Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Conk's Corner with me, with Mark, and with Dexter. We're reading Harry Potter every single day for an hour. I have not read the books before. No spoilers in the chat, please. And I'm excited to get back into it. How was your weekend? Right into the chat. Let me know how it was.
Awful.
Why was it awful, Mark?
No, it wasn't awful. I'm just being.
It was not awful. John, did you get a new haircut? No, I just showered and what do you call it? Coiffed it. I coiffed it. God spared us today, guys. Bruno, he was terrible. I'm excited to be back. I haven't been on the live in weeks. Welcome back, Katrina Jackson. Hello, RJ Nikki. Well, here's a new thing. I have now created the Discord chat. So it should be in the description of the video. If it's not there, I'm going to be putting it in all the uploads from now on. So for people who are outside of the hours when we do the live, you can still join into the community. You can still have chats with people. You can still engage. So it's an open link. And so if you can't find it there, go to my Instagram link, the link in my Instagram bio. There you can find the Discord link for that. I'm still figuring it all out. There's not a moderator yet, so I'm going to figure that out too. But for now, I think you can create your own channels. If not, let me know. There's also a chat there for spoiler territory, which I will not touch. So if you have any discussions that you want to have around anything, go into that. Have your spoiler-filled discussion. Queefing. Alana, no. Did I say that? Did I say that? It's off to a good start, ladies and gentlemen. It's off to a good start today. What else? Okay, yes, one more thing. So I looked a little bit into the copyright laws and all that kind of stuff. This is an official law, but it's from, a YouTube law, YouTube copyright law. So what I'm doing is basically, it's like an audio book, and technically, according to YouTube, that's not allowed. So I don't know, if you get 3 copyright strikes, the account gets deleted. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm still gonna do this daily. I'm gonna read to the end of book 5, and I'm still gonna have the videos around. If you're catching up, I know there's people who've been telling me, hey, I'm catching up, I'm enjoying it on the way there. If you're enjoying it, great. At the end of book 5, I will be deleting the videos. So I will be still reading every single day, and I will keep the lives that I read up for about 2 days, then deleting them. So there are programs online and different things where you can download the videos. So if that's a worry for you that you won't get to them, that's unfortunately what I'll have to do, because I don't want to get copyright strikes and have to delete my channel. That's just not worth it for me. So I will still be reading every single day. I'll still be doing it in the future, but I won't be keeping the videos around forever. This will just be a thing I do every day, and you can join in, and it'll be fun. So much pressure. Yeah, well, they'll still be up. They'll still be up, but they won't be up forever. So I'll be downloading them for myself, and already have been. And if that's a worry of yours, just let me know, and we can figure something out. I thought this was forever. Can they live somewhere else? Yeah, I can probably figure out something like that. Anyway, I'll have to figure it out, but yeah, that's the unfortunate part of everything. What about book 6? I'll be reading it. I'll still be don't worry, everybody. I'll still be reading every single day.
What about book 7?
What about book 7? I'll still be reading them every single day. I have the files, but yeah, it's just that I've read stories of this is what happens to people, and I don't want it to happen to me. So, yeah. Is it possible to make Instagram TV videos? It's the same kind of thing there. It's the same kind of thing anywhere where it's public, right? But yeah, so don't worry. This will still be something where you'll be able to join in the live. If you can't join in the live, they'll be up for a few days. And if you want to see them and you can't see them in those 2 days, I recommend some channels, some programs online. You paste the link and you can download the video, or you can view it later. So that's an unfortunate thing, but still gonna keep going, still gonna power through and read books after this too. It's an ongoing thing. Okay, let's get this party started. If it's not monetized, then it doesn't count. Yeah, it's still, if it's not, it's still a service, right? It's still a service technically. So even if it's monetized, it still counts, unfortunately. Okay, here we go for Conk's Corner. Drawing up my, oh, is it the right side? I don't know. Here we go. Well, they're always big. You know, the pictures I've seen of, you know, even on the books of Harry Potter, they're much smaller. Maybe I should try to get them smaller.
Yeah, you started off.
Yeah, what?
In the beginning, you started off smaller. They've gotten bigger as we've gone along.
Bigger?
Yeah.
So I should make them smaller?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that better? I don't understand the YouTubes. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, so what happened last was he got into a tiff with Umbridge, and then McGonagall said, "You idiot! I know we're all on the same side. You just gotta be wise, man. Stop reacting so emotionally, man. Keep it together, dude." And he's like, "But she said the wrong thing." And she's like, "Yeah, bro, but you know, you gotta calm down, broham." So he's gonna go into,
Broham?
yeah, broham. You don't like that, do you, Mark?
What the heck does that mean?
So now he's gonna go into detention with Umbridge. So that'll be interesting. Love you, John, Mark, and everybody. You make me happy these moments. Thank you, Miguel. Love you too. That's really nice. John, you should buy the illustrated version of the books after you read them. Only the first 4 books are done so far. There's illustrated versions. Very cool. Okay, let's get into this. Enough talk. I've gone on for 7 minutes. What am I? A fountain of knowledge just pouring it out on you and you accepting this knowledge? Is that what I am to you? Probably, but I'm also here to read.
Yeah, so get to it.
Okay, Mark. Oh, Dex is out. Where'd you go, buddy? Hey, man. You want to sit on my lap while I read? All right, sure. Okay. Where are we? Grubbly Plank. Grubbly Plank. Oh, I wrote her name and I couldn't remember. I made it into my list and I wrote her name as. What did I write? Where are the teachers? Grubbly Snout. Okay, chop. Okay, I'm just trying to find out where we left off. Okay, here we go. Now, panicking slightly about the amount of homework they had to do, Harry and Ron spent their lunch hour in the library, looking up the uses of moonstones and potion making. Still angry about Ron's slur on her woolly hats, Hermione did not join them. By the time they reached care of magical creatures in the afternoon, Harry's head was aching again. The day had become cool and breezy, and as they walked down the sloping lawn towards Hagrid's cabin on the edge of the Forbidden Forest, they felt the occasional drop of rain on their faces. Professor Grubbly Snout stood waiting. I'm just going to call her that from now on. Professor Grubbly Plank stood waiting for the class some 10 yards from Hagrid's front door, a long trestle table in front of her laden with twigs. As Harry and Ron reached her, a loud shout of anger sounded behind them. Turning, they saw Draco Malfoy striding towards them. I think we've already done this, but it's okay, I'll just go through this section. Surrounded by his usual gang of Slytherin cronies. He had clearly just said something highly amusing, because Crabbe, Goyelle, Pansy Parkinson, and the rest continued to snigger heartily as they gathered around the trestle table and... And the rest continued to snigger heartily as they gathered around the trestle table, and judging by the way they all kept looking over at Harry, he was able to guess the subject of the joke without too much difficulty. Welcome, Tasmanian Devil! Welcome to your first live! Cheers to you! I need to, you know what? I'm gonna find a greeting transition thing for people, for new people. All right. Everyone here! Barked Professor Grubbly Snout once all the Slytherins and Gryffindors had arrived. Let's crack on then! Who can tell me what these things are called? I think I like that voice for her. She indicated the heap of twigs in front of her. Hermione's hand shot into the air. Behind her back, Malfoy did a buck-toothed imitation of her, jumping up and down in eagerness to answer a question. Pansy Parkinson gave a shriek of laughter that turned almost at once into a scream as the as the twigs of the table leapt into the air and revealed themselves to be looking what looked like tiny pixie-ish creatures made of wood. What is Dexter's playing around? Each with knobbly brown arms and legs, 2 twig-like fingers at the end of each hand, and a funny, flat, bark-like face in which a pair of beetle brown eyes glittered. So stick creatures. Pixie-ish, made of wood, knobbly brown arms, fig-like fingers at the end. Okay, they're like, what's his name? Groom? Grook? Grook? Grood? Grood? Groop? Droop? Droog? Groom? Groom? I am Groot? Groot. Groot.
All he ever says is his name.
I know, man. That's what I told you, that I'm bad at names, Dan. Maybe that is like, even the brother got the scary in the head. Groot, that's the word. Yeah.
Took you the entire delay.
Yeah, to finally get there. Groot. He's basically little Groot. She came up with it first, maybe? Or maybe the comics were older than... It could be that Guardians of the Galaxy is older than the first book. So it could be too. Kindly keep your voices down, girls, said Professor Grubbly Snout sharply, scattering a handful of what looked like brown rice among the stick creatures, who immediately fell upon the food. So, anyone know the names of these creatures? Miss Granger? Bowtruckles, said Hermione. They're tree guardians, usually live in wand trees. 5 points for Gryffindor, said Professor Grubbly Snout. Yes, these are bowtruckles, and as Miss Granger rightly says, they generally live in trees whose wood is of wand quality. Anyone know what they eat? Wood lice, said Hermione promptly, which explained why what Harry had taken to be grains of brown rice were moving. But fairy eggs if they can get them. This guy's is smaller than Groot. Muggle bugs. Who the heck is Grubbly Snout? It's Grubbly Plank, but I'm calling her Grubbly Snout because that's what I thought her name was. Good girl, take another 5 points. So, whenever you need leaves or wood from a tree in which a bowtruckle lodges, it is wise to have a gift of wood lice ready to distract or placate it. They may not look dangerous, but if angered, they will try to gouge at human eyes with their fingers, which, as you can see, are very sharp and not at all desirable near the eyeballs. So, if you'd like to gather closer, take a few wood lice and a bowtruckle. I have enough here for 1 between 3. You can study them more closely. I want a sketch from each of you with all body parts labeled by the end of the lesson. The class surged forwards around the trestle table. Harry deliberately circled around the back so that he ended up right next to Professor Grubbly Plank. Where's Hagrid? He asked her, while everyone else was choosing bowtruckles. Never you mind, said Professor Grubbly Plank repressively, which had been her attitude last time Hagrid had failed to return up for class 2, smirking all over his pointed face. Smirking all over his pointed face, Draco Malfoy leaned across Harry and seized the largest bowtruckle. Maybe, said Malfoy in an undertone, so that only Harry could hear him, the stupid great oaf's got himself badly injured. Maybe you will if you don't shut up. Nice, said Harry out of the side of his mouth. Nice. Maybe he's been messing with stuff that's too big for him, if you get my drift. Malfoy walked away, smirking over his shoulder at Harry, who felt suddenly sick. Mugglebug. Gosh, John, what's Nathan's deal? I think he was hoping you'd show up, Nathan, and land. Oh man, if that had a song, hey. Malfoy walked away, smirking over his shoulder at Harry, who felt suddenly sick. Did Malfoy know something? His father was a Death Eater, after all. What if he had information about Hagrid's fate that had not yet reached the ears of the Order? He hurried back around the table to Ron and Hermione, who were squatting on the grass some distance away, and attempting to persuade a bowtruckle to remain still long enough for them to draw it. Harry pulled out parchment and quill, crouched Crouched down beside the others. No. No. And Quill crouched up beside the others and related to whisper what. Crouched down beside the others and related in a whisper what Malfoy had just said. Dumbledore would know if something had... Dumbledore would know if something had happened to Hagrid, said Hermione at once. It's just playing into Malfoy's hands to look worried. It tells him we don't know exactly what's going on. We've got to ignore him, Harry. Here, hold the bowtruckle for a moment, just so I can draw its face. Yes, came Malfoy's clear drawl from the group nearest them. Father was talking to the minister just a couple of days ago, you know, and it sounds as though the ministry really determined to crack down on substandard teaching in this place. So, even if that overgrown moron does show up again, he'll probably be sent packing straight away. Ouch! Harry had gripped the bowtruckle so hard that it had almost snapped, and it had just taken a great retaliatory swipe, there we go, I got it, at his hand with its sharp fingers, leaving 2 long, deep cuts there. Harry dropped it. Crabbe and Goyelle, who had already been guffawing at the idea of Hagrid being sacked, laughed still harder at as the bowtruckle set off at full tilt towards the forest. A little moving stick man soon swallowed up among the tree roots. These little guys, they're like, hey, I'm just living my life. Oh no, what are you doing? It's like just humans manhandling this little guy. I just want to live my life. Lois, we need you. Time for spoilers. Oh, there was a big spoil? Okay.
No.
Okay, good. If he called where were we? When the bell echoed distantly over the grounds, Harry rolled up his blood-stained bowtruckle picture and marched off to herbology with his hand wrapped in Hermione's handkerchief, and Malfoy's derisive laughter still ringing in his ears. Yeah! Well, it's a little bit like SpongeBob. If he calls Hagrid a moron one more time, said Harry through gritted teeth. Harry, don't go picking a row with Malfoy. Don't forget, he's a prefect now. He could make life difficult for you. Wow, I wonder what it'd be like to have a difficult life, said Harry sarcastically. Ron laughed, but Hermione frowned. Together, they traipsed across the vegetable patch. The sky still appeared unable to make up its mind whether it wanted to rain or not. I just wish Hagrid would hurry up and get back, that's all, said Harry in a low voice, as they reached the greenhouses. And don't say that grubbly plank woman's a better teacher, he added threateningly. Look at that. I think we need a bit more height to get Dex in there. There you go. I wasn't going to, said Hermione calmly. Just like Dumbledore. I wasn't going to, said Hermione calmly. Dumbledore said calmly. I wasn't going to, said Hermione calmly. Because she'll never be as good as Hagrid, said Harry firmly, fully aware that he had just experienced an exemplary care of magical creatures lesson and was so thoroughly annoyed about it. That's funny. The door of the nearest greenhouse opened, and some fourth years spilled out of it, including Ginny. Hi, she said brightly as she passed. A few seconds later, Luna Lovegood emerged, trailing behind the rest of the class, a smudge of earth on her nose, and her hair tied in a knot on top of her head. When she saw Harry, her prominent eyes seemed to bulge excitedly, and she made a beeline straight for him. Well, I can't tell. Well, I think she just wants to be friends. I don't think she has a crush on Ron or Harry. I don't think so. I think she's just like, she finds Ron highly amusing. He's just like this weird clown for her. You know, that's what I think. Yeah. Please scream all comments from now on. Thank you. All calm comments. No, sorry, Lois isn't here today and tomorrow. She texted me. She can't be here. So maybe I need to find an interim person when Lois can't be there. Who knows?
I'll do it.
Yeah? Sweet. Awesome. Mark's going to be the interim moderator. Watch you just delete every single comment.
You haven't given me the power yet.
Okay. Many of his classmates turned curiously to watch. Luna took a great breath and then said, without so much as a preliminary hello, I believe he who must not be named is back, and I believe you fought him and escaped from him. Right, said Harry awkwardly. Luna was wearing what looked like a pair of orange radishes for earrings. A fact that Parvati and Lavender seemed to have noticed, as they were both giggling and pointing at her earlobes. You can laugh, Luna said, her voice rising, apparently under the impression that Parvati and Lavender were laughing at what she had said, rather than at what she was wearing. But people used to believe there was no such thing as the blibbering humdinger or the crumple-horned snorkack. Well, they were right, weren't they? Said Hermione impatiently. There weren't any such things as the blibbering humdinger or the crumple-horned snorkack. Luna gave her a withering look and flounced away, radishes swinging wildly. Parvati and Lavender were not the only ones hooting with laughter now. Do you mind not offending the only people who believe me? Harry asked Hermione as they made their way into class. Oh, for heaven's sake, Harry, you can do better than her, said Hermione. Ginny's told me all about her. Apparently, she'll only believe in things as long as there's no proof at all. Well, I wouldn't expect anything else from someone whose father runs the Quibbler. Harry thought of the sinister winged horses he had seen on the night he had... What are you muttering over there?
Whatever, Hermione.
Yeah, I know.
She's being really mean.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's...
Chill out, yo.
Yeah, she's just been a nice... He's like, hey, yeah, I believe you. Come on, Hermione.
John's voice is dry.
That's pretty gross. All right. Harry thought of the sinister winged horses he had seen on the night he had arrived, and how Luna had said she could see them too. His spirits sank slightly. Had she been lying? But before he could devote much more thought to the matter, Ernie Macmillan had stepped up to him. Oh, I didn't look at Ernie. Who's Ernie again? That's that little kid. It's one of the kids, right?
Yeah.
Right? Ernie's one of the two brothers, right? Dairy Potter and the half melted grilled cheese. Second strike, Snuffy. Pompous self. Oh no. Okay, Ernie. Oh no. Hufflepuff prefect, pompous boy. Right. I remember now. Okay. I want you to know, Potter, he said in a loud, carrying voice. Oh, no, but right, I remember his voice now. That it's not only weirdos who support you. I personally believe you 100%. My family have always stood firm behind Dumbledore, and so do I. Thank you very much, Ernie, said Harry, taken aback but pleased. Ernie might be pompous on occasions like this, but Harry was in a mood to deeply appreciate a vote of confidence from somebody who did not have radishes dangling from his ears. Okay, she's just got earrings on. Jeez. Ernie's words had certainly wiped the smile from Lavender's brown face, and as he turned to talk to Ron and Hermione, Harry caught Seamus's expression, which looked both confused and defiant. Yeah, nice, Ernie. To nobody's surprise, right, because Ernie doubted him once before. Yeah, and then he came to him and said, I'm sorry for doubting you. Yeah, I remember that. To nobody's surprise, Professor Sprout started their lesson. It's actually a little bit hard to remember all the details of the last 4.5 books.
Come on.
Yeah, you remember everything, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. To nobody's surprise, Professor Sprout started their lesson by lecturing them about the importance of owls. Harry wished all the teachers would stop doing this. He was starting to get an anxious, twisted feeling in his stomach every time he remembered how much homework he had to do. A feeling that worsened dramatically when Professor Sprout gave them yet another essay at the end of class. Tired and smelling strongly of dragon dung. Why? Professor Sprout's preferred type of fertilizer. Okay. Okay, good. I was like, what's going on there, Sprout? The Gryffindors trooped back up to the castle an hour and a half later, none of them talking very much. It had been another long day. As Harry was starving, and he had his first detention with Umbridge at 5 o'clock, right? He headed straight for dinner without dropping off his bag in Gryffindor Tower, so that he could bolt something down before facing whatever she had in store for him. He had barely reached the entrance of the Great Hall, however, when he heard a loud and angry voice yell. An angry voice yelled, "Oi, Potter!" "What now?" he muttered wearily, turning to face Angelina Johnson, who looked as though she was in a towering temper. Oh. Can you please wear radish earrings in your next video, John? If I had them, I would. Yeah. I mean, I do have some, like, in my props bin basket, I have some earrings and stuff like that. Okay. Angelina. What now? "I'll tell you what now," she said, marching straight up to him and poking him hard in the chest with her finger. "How come you've landed yourself in detention for 5 o'clock on Friday?" "What?" said Harry. "What? Oh, yeah, keeper tryouts." "Now he remembers," snarled Angelina. Didn't I tell you I wanted to do a tryout with the whole team and find someone who fitted in with everyone? Didn't I tell you I'd booked the Quidditch pitch specially? And now you've decided you're not going to be there." "I didn't decide not to be there," said Harry, stung by the injustice of these words. "I got detention from that Umbridge woman just because I told her the truth about you-know-who. Well, you can just go straight to her and ask her to let you off on Friday," said Angelina fiercely. "And I don't care how you do it. Tell her you-know-who's a figment of your imagination if you like. Just make sure you're there." She turned on her heel and stormed away. "You know what?" said Harry to Ron and Hermione as they entered the Great Hall. "I think we'd better check with Puddlemere United whether Olive Wood's been killed during a training session, because Angelina seems to be channeling his spirit." "What do you reckon are the odds of Umbridge letting you off on Friday?" said Ron skeptically as they sat down at the Gryffindor table. Less than 0, said Harry glumly, tipping lamb chops onto his plate and starting to eat. "Better try, though, hadn't I? I'll offer to do 2 more detentions or something. I don't know." He swallowed a mouthful of potato and added, "I hope she doesn't keep me too long this evening. You realize we've got to write 3 essays, practice vanishing spells for McGonagall, work out a counter-charm for Flitwick, finish the boat truckle drawing, and start that stupid dream diary for Trelawney?" Ron moaned, and for some reason glanced up at the ceiling. "And it looks like it's going to rain." "What's that got to do with our homework?" said Hermione, her eyebrows raised. "Nothing," said Ron at once, his ears reddening. "What's that about? What is that about?
Who knows?
What is that about, Ron? Why would he care about the rain? What's been going on for him in this book? Not much besides just showing up and be a prefect, right?"
He's obviously got something to do outside.
Premonition, idiot. It's time for John's premonition.
He wants to go on a date. He wants to take somebody out on a date, maybe. Outside. Little picnic, little soiree outside.
Who in particular?
Not Hermione. Not Hermione, because she doesn't know what is going on. Or not a date. He wants to, like, do some... Maybe he wants to plan something or do something special for somebody.
Premonitions have become so vague. Be specific.
He's going to marry Hermione. He's going to marry Hermione outside. gonna marry her. Where is it? At 5:55, Harry bade the other two goodbye and set off for Umbridge's office on the 3rd floor. When he knocked on the door, she called, "Come in a sugary voice. He entered cautiously, looking around. I like doing her. I like when she's in scenes. He had known this office under 3 of its previous occupants. In the days when Gilderoy Lockhart, I miss him so much. Hello, Harry. What does he always say? Harry. I miss that dude. In the days when Gilderoy Lockhart had lived here, it had been plastered in beaming portraits of himself. When Lupin had occupied it, it was likely you would meet some fascinating dark creature in a cage or tank if you came to call. In the imposter Moody's days, it had been packed with various instruments and artifacts for the detention of wrongdoing and concealment. Now, however, it looked totally unrecognizable. The surfaces had all been draped in lacy covers and cloths. There were several vases? Yeah, vases full of dried flowers.
Vases.
I knew I said that word wrong.
No, it's fine both ways.
Is it now?
Yeah.
Oh, professor of English over here. Each one residing on its own doily. What's a doily, Ren? That's like the little...
Yeah, the little decorative...
Yeah. And one of the walls was a collection of ornamental plates, each decorated with a large Technicolor kitten wearing a different bow around its neck. Those were so foul that Harry stared at them, transfixed, until Professor Umbridge spoke again. Hey, I can throw up a new color for the lights on here. What colors should I make this scene?
Blurple.
Blurple. I don't know what that is.
Yellow.
Yeah, tell me what color. I can actually throw it on pretty quickly for this scene here.
Orange.
Or pink. We got pink from Chicago. Let's see here. Color. Throwing it up here. Gonna make this. We got pink. Okay, we got lots of pinks. Pinks. Okay, let's see if this works.
Dang.
There we go. Got some pink. That's like dark pink. Yeah, it works out. Where are we? Oh, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, where were we? Oh, yeah. Different bow, each decker with a large Technicolor kitten wearing a different bow around its neck. These were so foul that Harry stared at them, transfixed, until Professor Umbridge spoke again. Good evening, Mr. Potter. Harry started and looked around. He had not noticed her at first because she was wearing a luridly flowered set of robes that blended only too well with a tablecloth on the desk behind them. Pepto Pink. Change the music to nails on chalkboard. Nails on chalkboard. Okay, do I have any other music? I need to find some sweet music for her. Maybe I'll put some in when I find it for next time. Okay, here we go. Evening, Professor Umbridge, Harry said stiffly. Well, sit down, she said, pointing towards a small table draped in lace beside which she had drawn up a straight-backed chair. A piece of blank parchment lay on the table, apparently waiting for him. Said Harry without moving. Professor Umbridge, before we start, I wanted to ask you a favor. Her bulging eyes narrowed. Oh, yes? Well, I'm in the Gryffindor Quidditch team, and I was supposed to be at the tryouts for the new keep at 5 o'clock on Friday, and I was wondering whether I could skip detention that night and do it another night instead. He knew long before he reached the end of his sentence that it was no good. Oh, no, said Umbridge, smiling so widely that she looked as though she had just swallowed a particularly juicy fly. No. This is your punishment for spreading evil, nasty, attention-seeking stories, Mr. Potter. And punishments certainly cannot be adjusted to suit the guilty one's convenience.
No. You will come here at 5 o'clock tomorrow, and the next day, and on Friday too. And you will do all your attentions as planned. I think it rather a good thing that you are missing something you really want to do. It ought to reinforce the lesson I am trying to teach you.
Well, Harry felt the blood surge to his head and heard a thumping noise in his ears. So he told evil, nasty, attention-seeking stories, did he? She was watching him with her head slightly to one side, still smiling widely, as though she knew exactly what he was thinking, and was waiting to see whether he would start shouting again. With a massive effort, Harry looked away from her, dropped his school bag beside the straight-back chair, and sat down.
There,
said Umbridge sweetly.
We're getting better at controlling our temper already, aren't we? Now, you are going to be doing some lines for me, Mr. Potter. No, not with your quill, she added.
As Harry bent down to open his bag,
You're going to be using a rather special one of mine. Here you are.
She handed him a long, thin black quill with an unusually sharp point.
I want you to write, I must not tell lies.
She told him softly. Softly, okay. How many times? Harry asked, with a creditable imitation of politeness.
Oh, as long as it takes for the message to sink in,
said Umbridge sweetly.
Off you go.
Ugh. Hate her. She moved over to her desk, sat down, and bent over a stack of parchment that looked like essays for marking. Harry raised the sharp black quill, then realized what was missing. You haven't given me any ink, he said.
Oh, you won't need ink,
said Professor Umbridge, with the mere suggestion of a laugh in her voice. Harry placed the point of the quill on the paper and wrote, I must not tell lies. He let out a gasp of pain. The words had appeared on the parchment in what appeared to be a shining red ink. At the same time, the words had appeared on the back of Harry's right hand. Cut into his skin, as though traced there by a scalpel. Yet even as he stared at the shining cut, the skin healed over again, leaving the place where it had been slightly redder than it had been before quite smooth. Yo, that is messed up!
Yeah.
That is messed up! That's like just
rough.
straight up torture.
Yeah.
What? You kidding me? Ugh. I'm gritting my teeth in this part. I hate her so much. I remember being so mad for Harry when I read this part. Ugh. That is just like the worst. I mean, yeah. Dumbledore's like, I'll allow it. Treat the boy. Just torture the kids if they need it. But again, he might not have control over this. I don't know what's going on specifically with all this. Yeah, they haven't explained out anything. I was anxious all day for this reaction to sink in.
You can get these pens at Staples in the education.
Nice, Nathan. You can get these pens in the educational section. Harry looked around at Umbridge. She was watching him, her wide, toad-like mouth stretched into a smile.
Yes?
Nothing, said Harry quietly. He looked back at the parchment, placed the quill on it once more, wrote, I must not tell lies, and felt the searing pain on the back of his hand for a second time. Once again, the words had been cut into his skin. Once again, they healed over seconds later. And on it went. Again and again, Harry wrote the words on the parchment in what he soon came to realize was not ink, but his own blood. And again, the words were cut into the back of his hand, healed, and reappeared the next time he set quill to parchment. I would just be like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna peace out and, go to the principal and and be like, hey, this woman's cutting me. This woman's straight up cutting me. Darkness fell outside Umbridge's window. Harry did not ask when he would be allowed to stop. He did not even check his watch. He knew she was watching him for signs of weakness, and he was not going to show any. Not even if he had to sit there all night, cutting open his own hand with his quill. Okay, sad for Harry, but also badass Harry. And character Harry. Oh my gosh.
Come here.
She seemed after what seemed hours. He stood up. His hand was stinging painfully. When he looked down at it, he saw that the cut had been healed, but that the skin there was red raw.
Hand,
she said. He extended it. She took it in her own. Harry repressed a shudder as she touched him with her thick, stubby fingers, on which she wore a number of ugly old rings.
Tut, tut. I don't seem to have made much of an impression yet,
she said, smiling.
Well, we'll just have to try again tomorrow evening, won't we? You may go.
Harry left her office without a word. The school was quite deserted. It was surely past midnight. He walked slowly up the corridor. Then, when he had turned the corner and was sure she would not hear him, broke into a run. Ugh, poor Harry. I feel bad for him. That's really, really sucky. That's really sucky. He had not had time to practice vanishing spells, had not written a single dream in his dream diary, and had not finished the drawing of the bow-truckle, nor had he written his essays. He skipped breakfast next morning to scribble down a couple of made-up dreams for divination, their first lesson, and was surprised to find a disheveled Ron keeping him company. "How come you didn't do it last night?" Harry asked, as Ron stared wildly around the common room for inspiration. Ron, who had been fast asleep when Harry got back to the dormitory, muttered something about doing other stuff, bent low over his parchment, and scrawled a few words. "That'll have to do," he said, slamming the diary shut. "I've said I dreamed I was buying a new pair of shoes. She can't make anything weird out of that, can she?" They hurried off to North Tower together. "How was detention with Umbridge anyway? What did she make you do?" Harry hesitated for a fraction of a second, then said, "Lines." "Oh, that's not too bad then, eh?" said Ron. "Nope," said Harry. Why wouldn't he tell him? "Hey, I forgot. Did she let you off for Friday?" "No," said Harry. Ron groaned sympathetically. It was another bad day for Harry. He was one of the worst in Transfiguration, not having practiced vanishing spells at all. He had to give up his lunch hour to complete the picture of Bow-Truckle, and, meanwhile, Professor McGonagall, Grubbly Plank, and Sinistra gave them yet more homework, which he had no prospect of finishing that evening because of his second detention with Umbridge. To cap it all, Angelina Johnson tracked him down at dinner again, and, on learning that he would not be able to attend Friday's keeper tryouts, told him she was not at all impressed by his attitude, and that she expected players who wished to remain on the team to put training before their other commitments. "I'm in detention!" Harry yelled after her as she stalked away. "Do you think I'd rather be stuck in a room with that old toad or playing Quidditch?" "At least it's only lines," said Hermione consolingly, as Harry sank back onto his bench and looked down at his steak and kidney pie, which he no longer fancied very much. "It's not as if it's a dreadful punishment, really." Man. Me sitting there. He did that for 7 hours. Oh, what? He did it for 7 hours? That is messed. What? No, that can't be detention.
Well, didn't he say what time he got back to and saw Ron sleeping?
Holy smokes, she's the worst.
Started at 5, so.
She's the Antichrist. Holy smokes. Important to know, I was playing The Last of Us last night. The game Little Girl Has No Shoes. I'm freaking out about Last of Us 2. Yeah, I'm playing Last of Us 2 right now, too. It's a fun game.
Spoilers.
No spoilers, please. No spoilers about that either, please.
Yeah, don't steal somebody's joy.
Don't steal my joy about that. Okay. Harry opened his mouth, closed it again, and nodded. He was not really sure why he was not telling Ron and Hermione exactly what was happening in Umbridge's room. He only knew that he did not want to see their looks of horror. That would make the whole thing seem worse and therefore more difficult to face. It's a little bit of PTSD and, reaction to abuse. That's abuse. He also felt dimly that this was between himself and Umbridge, a private battle of wills, and he was not going to give her the satisfaction of hearing he had complained about it. I can't believe how much homework we've got, said Ron miserably. Well, why didn't you do it any last night? Hermione asked him. Where were you, anyway? I fancied a walk, said Ron shiftily. Oh, what's going on there? Harry had the distinct impression that he was not alone in concealing things at the moment. End of section. Hey, maybe it's time for somebody to...
When you gotta go, it's toilet time, it's toilet time.
The second detention was just as bad as the previous one. The skin on the back of Harry's hand became irritated more quickly now, and was soon red and inflamed. Harry thought it unlikely that it would keep healing as effectively for long. Soon the cut would remain etched into his hand, and Umbridge would perhaps be satisfied. He let no gasp of pain escape him, however, and from the moment of entering the room to the moment of his dismissal, again past midnight, he said nothing but, "Good evening," and "Good night." His homework situation, however, was now desperate, and when he returned to the Gryffindor common room, he did not, though exhausted, go to bed, but opened his books and began Snape's Moonstone essay. Man, this is like the worst year for Harry. This is the worst. Like,
It's so rough that not only does he have detention, but it's messing with his other lessons. That kind of just doesn't really make sense to me.
yeah,
The punishment doesn't fit the crime.
Yeah, we're talking about that today. Me and Mark had a whole discussion about that today. Man, that's crazy. Okay. It was 2:30 by the time he had finished it. He knew he had done a poor job, but there was no help for it. Unless he had something to give in, he would be in detention with Snape next. He then dashed off answers to the questions Professor McGonagall had set them, cobbled together something on the proper handling of bowtruckles for Professor Grubblyplank, and staggered up to bed, where he fell fully clothed on top of the covers and fell asleep immediately. Thursday passed in a haze of tiredness. Ron seemed very sleepy too, though Harry could not see why he should be. 'Cause he's out and about, making 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 out, blah, 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 blah. Ron seemed very sleepy too. Okay. Harry's third detention passed in the same way as the previous two, except that after 2 hours, the words, "I must not tell lies," did not fade from the back of Harry's hand. Oh no, but remained scratched there, oozing droplets of blood. The paws and the pointed quills scratching made Professor Umbridge look up. Oh wait, here we go, different lights. Where's the pink one? Oh no, I messed everything up.
Yeah.
I messed everything up.
Yeah.
Some pink lights, there we go. She said softly, moving around her desk to examine his hand herself.
Good. That ought to serve as a reminder to you, oughtn't it? You may leave for tonight.
Do I still have to come back tomorrow? Said Harry, picking up his school bag with his left hand rather than his smarting right one.
Yes,
said Professor Umbridge, smiling as widely as before.
yes. I think we can etch the message a little deeper with another evening's work.
Harry had never before considered the possibility that there might be another... Harry had never before considered the possibility that there might be another teacher in the world he hated more than Snape. But as he walked backwards towards Gryffindor Tower... No, walked back. He didn't walk backwards. He was just thinking hard.
Moonwalk.
Oh, no. Did I hit Dexter? No, I didn't. I was so... Thank goodness. Oh, my gosh. Of course he did. John, are your eyes hazel or brown? They're red, usually. Okay, but as he walked back towards Gryffindor Tower, he had to admit he had found a strong contender. She's evil, he thought, as he climbed the staircase to the 7th floor. She's an evil, twisted, mad, old... Ron? It's nighttime. Let's make it nighttime. He had reached the top of the stairs, turned right, and almost walked into Ron, who was lurking behind a statue of Lachlan the Lanky. Oh, I want to know Lachlan the Lanky's story, man. I want to know the story. Who was lurking behind a statue of Lachlan the Lanky, clutching his broomstick. He gave a great leap of surprise when he saw Harry and attempted to hide his new clean sweep 11 behind his back. What are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Harry frowned at him. Come on, you can tell me. What are you hiding here for? I'm hiding from Fred and George, if you must know, said Ron. They just went past with a bunch of first years. I bet they're testing stuff on them again. I mean, they can't do it in the common room now, can they? Not with Hermione there. He was talking in a very fast, feverish way. But what have you got your broom for? You haven't been flying, have you? Harry asked. Well, okay, I'll tell you. But don't laugh, all right? Ron said defensively, turning redder with every second. I thought I'd try it for Gryffindor Keeper now. I've got a decent broom there. Go on, laugh. I'm not laughing, said Harry. Ron blinked. It's a brilliant idea. It'd be really cool if you got on the team. I've never seen you play Keeper. Are you good? I'm not bad, said Ron, who looked immensely relieved at Harry's reaction. Charlie, Fred, and George always made me keep for them when they were training during the holidays.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't use the word cute, because I'm a man. Never do I use the word cute.
You need to examine that limiting belief, John.
Cute? No way! Dexter's not cute. He's cool. He's the cutest being in the whole wide world. And I hug him every morning and evening. So you've been practicing tonight, every evening since Tuesday. Just my own, though. I've been trying to bewitch Quaffles to fly at me, but it hasn't been easy, and I don't know how much use it'll be. Ron looked nervous and anxious. Fred and George are going to laugh themselves stupid when I turn up for the tryouts. They haven't stopped taking the mickey out of me since I got made a prefect. I wish I was going to be there, said Harry bitterly, as they set off together towards the common room. 'Cause I'm a man, has earrings in his prop box. Yeah, that's a good one, Tasmanian Devil. You're so toxic, John. Everyone is traumatized in this book. Okay. Keep on going. I wish I was going to be there, said Harry bitterly, as they set off together towards the common room. Yeah, so do... Harry? What's that in the back of your hand? Harry, who had just scratched his nose with his free right hand, tried to hide it, but had as much success as Ron with his clean sweep. It's just a cut, it's nothing, But Ron had grabbed Harry's forearm and pulled the back of Harry's hand up level with his eyes. There was a pause, during which he stared at the words carved into the skin. Then, looking sick, he released Harry. I thought you said she was just giving you lines. Harry hesitated, but after all, Ron had been honest with him. So, he told Ron the truth about the hours he had been spending in Umbridge's office. The old hag? Ron said in a revolted whisper. The old hag? Ron said in a revolted whisper as they came to halt in front of the fat lady, who was dozing peacefully with her head against her frame. She's sick. Go to McGonagall. Say something. Just suggesting if there's another detention with Umbridge, maybe put on some creepy background music. Done. Yeah, Ron's pretty awesome in this section. He's pretty awesome. No, said Harry at once. I'm not giving her the satisfaction of knowing she's got to me. Got to you? You can't let her get away with this. I don't know how much power McGonagall's got over her, said Harry. Dumbledore, then. Tell Dumbledore. No, said Harry flatly. Why not? He's got enough on his mind, said Harry. But that was not the true reason. He was not going to go to Dumbledore for help when Dumbledore had not spoken to him once in June. Well, I reckon you should, Ron began, but he was interrupted by the fat lady, who'd been watching them sleepily and now burst out,
Are you going to give me the password, or will I have to stay awake all night waiting for you to finish your conversation?
I forgot her voice too. I forgot her voice too.
What was that?
I don't know. Making fun of myself. Oh, John, you're so dumb. Oh, stop it. Maybe after doing all this, I'm becoming kind of schizophrenic. You know, maybe I've got all these personalities in me now. Ron's such a good egg. Wish they included this in the movie. Totally agree. Important nobody. Ron in the movies is a joke. Gave all his good parts to Hermione. Friday dawned sullen. Friday dawned sullen and sodden as the rest of the week, though Harry automatically glanced towards the staff table when he entered the great hall. It was without any real hope of seeing Hagrid, and he turned his mind immediately to his more pressing problems, such as the mountainous pile of homework he had to do, and the prospect of yet another detention with Umbridge. Let me check, how much longer in this chapter? Yeah, I'm gonna finish this chapter off. We got about 5 pages there. It's gonna be a bit longer, but we're gonna do it. You sound like Goofy. Yeah, I love Goofy. Love him. What am I doing?
What was that supposed to be?
Oh, you're such a. Two things sustained Harry that day. One was the thought that it was almost the weekend. The other was that, dreadful though his final detention with Umbridge was sure to be, he had a distant view of the Quidditch pitch from her window, and might, with luck, be able to see something of Ron's tryout. Yeah, he's a good friend. He's a good friend. They were rather feeble rays of light, it was true, but Harry was grateful for anything that might lighten his present darkness. He had never had a worse first week of term at Hogwarts. At 5 o'clock that evening, he knocked on Professor Umbridge's office door for what he sincerely hoped would be the final time, and was told to enter. All right, here we go with the creep music.
He hasn't even been in there for a week.
Been where?
Like this is his first week of Hogwarts.
Oh gosh. First week, that's intense.
That's awful.
It's the most awful first week ever. The blank parchment lay ready for him on the lace-covered table, the pointed black quill beside it.
You know what to do, Mr. Potter?
Said Umbridge, smiling sweetly at him. Harry picked up the quill and glanced through the window. If he just shifted his chair an inch or so to the right, on the pretext of shifting himself closer to the table, he managed it. He now had a distant view of the Gryffindor Quidditch team soaring up and down the pitch, while half a dozen black figures stood at the foot of the 3 high goal posts, apparently waiting their turn to keep. It was impossible to tell which one was Ron at this distance. I must not tell lies, Harry wrote. The cut in the back of his right hand opened and began to bleed afresh. Ugh, my gosh. I must not tell lies. The cut dug deeper, stinging and smarting. I must not tell lies. Blood trickled down his wrist. He chanced another glance out of the window. Whoever was defending the goalposts now was doing a very poor job indeed. Katie Bell scored twice in the few seconds Harry dared to watch. Hoping very much that the keeper wasn't Ron, he dropped his eyes back to the parchment shining with blood. I must not tell lies. I must not tell lies. Thank you, Tasha. He looked up whenever he thought he could risk it, when he could hear the scratching of Umbridge's quill, or the opening of a desk drawer. The third person to try out was pretty good. The fourth was terrible. The fifth dodged a bludger exceptionally well, but then fumbled an easy save. The sky was darkening, and Harry doubted he would be able to see the sixth and seventh people at all. I must not tell lies. I must not tell lies. The parchment was now dotted with drops of blood from the back of his hand, which was searing with pain. When he next looked up, night had fallen, and the Quidditch pitch was no longer visible.
Let's see if you've got the message yet. Shall we?
Said Umbridge's soft voice half an hour later. She moved towards him, stretched out her short, ringed hands for his arm, and then, as she took hold of him to examine the words now cut into his skin, pain seared, not across the back of his hand, but across the scar on his forehead. At the same time, he had a most peculiar sensation somewhere around his midriff. Okay? He was pregnant. Sorry.
John.
Suddenly, he had a child. He wrenched his arm out of her grip and leapt to his feet, staring at her. She looked back at him, a smile stretching her wide, slack mouth.
Yes. It hurts, doesn't it?
She said softly. He did not answer. His heart was thumping very hard and fast. Was she talking about his hand? Or did she know what he had just felt in his forehead?
Well, I think I've made my point, Mr. Potter. You may go.
He caught up his school bag and left the room as quickly as he could. Stay calm, he told himself as he sprinted up the stairs. Stay calm. It doesn't necessarily mean what you think it means. Mimbless Mimbletonia, he gasped at the fat lady, who swung forwards once more. A roar of sound greeted him. Ron came running towards him, beaming all over his face. Okay, back to the regular music here. And slopping butterbeer down his front from the goblet he was clutching. Harry, I did it! I'm in! I'm keeper! What? Brilliant, said Harry, trying to smile naturally, while his heart continued to race and his hand throbbed and bled. Have a butterbeer, Ron presented a bottle on him. Pressed a bottle on him. I can't believe it! Where's Hermione gone? Oh, she's there, said Fred, who was also swigging butterbeer, and pointed to an armchair by the fire. Oh, well, first of all, yay! Ron made...
Ron.
Go Ron. And also, healthcare workers, we passed 7 o'clock. Thank you very much. I know you're still going strong. You're still going strong. And I don't think actually, did anybody write an update how things were going for them last time? If anybody's a healthcare worker, please write down what how it's going, if it's lightened up your load a bit, or if it's still as intense as it was. I honestly have no clue. So if you're, I think Alana is actually on the chat today. Maybe you can update us. Tell us how it's going. So yay, thank you very much. You're awesome. John's Umbridge and Draco Malfoy are awesome and infuriating. Thank you, Shira. Suddenly he's pregnant. That's why you can't hold hands until you're married. You'll get pregnant. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, let's keep going. Hermione was dozing in it, her drink tipping precariously in her hand. Well, she said she was pleased when I told her, said Ron, looking slightly put out. Let her sleep, said George hastily. It was a few minutes before Harry noticed that several of the first years gathered around them bore unmistakable signs of recent nosebleeds. Who's saying this? Come here, Ron, and see if Oliver's old robes fit you, called Katie Bell. Oh gosh, that's another character I missed. We can take off his name and put yours on instead. As Ron moved away, Angelina came striding up to Harry. Sorry I was a bit short with you earlier, Potter, she said abruptly. It's stressful, this managing lark, you know. I'm starting to think I was a bit hard on Wood sometimes. She was watching Ron over the rim of her goblet with a slight frown on her face. I almost had to do a COVID case Saturday, but in the end didn't. If someone's better, it's still scary. It's somewhat better, but still scary and still lacking in resources. Ah, that sucks. I'm sorry. So thanks for still pushing through this. You're doing amazing work that we don't even have to deal with. Look, I know he's your best mate, but he's not fabulous, she said bluntly. I think with a bit of training, he'll be all right, though. He comes from a family of good Quidditch players. I'm banking on him turning out to have a bit more talent than he showed today, to be honest. Vicky Frobisher and Jeffrey Hooper both flew better this evening, but Hooper's a real whiner. He's always moaning about something or other. And Vicky's involved in all sorts of societies. She admitted herself that if training clashed with her charms club, she'd put charms first. Anyways, we're having a practice session at 2 o'clock tomorrow, so just make sure you're there this time. And do me a favor and help Ron as much as you can, okay? He nodded, and Angelina strolled back to Alicia Spinnet. Harry moved over to sit next to Hermione, who woke with a jerk as he put down his bag. Oh, Harry, it's you. Good about Ron, isn't it? She said blearily. I'm just so tired, she yawned. I was up until 1 o'clock making more hats. They're disappearing like mad. And sure enough, now that he looked, Harry saw that there were more woolly hats concealed all around the room where unwary elves might accidentally pick them up. In Brazil, things are getting crazier by the day. Having a president that doesn't believe in COVID and always said isolation is unnecessary doesn't help. Holy smokes. Sorry about that, Bruno. That really sucks. That's... Oh, man. Sorry. Great, said Harry distractedly. If he did not tell somebody soon, he would burst. Listen, Hermione, I was just up in Umbridge's office and she touched my arm. Hermione listened closely. When Harry had finished, she said slowly, You're worried you know who's controlling her, like he controlled Quirrell? Well, said Harry, dropping his voice, it's a possibility, isn't it? I suppose so, said Hermione, though she sounded unconvinced. But I don't think he can be possessing her the way he possessed Quirrell. I mean, he's properly alive again now, isn't he? He's got his own body. He wouldn't need to share someone else's. He could have her under the Imperious curse, I suppose. Harry watched Fred and George and Lee Jordan juggling empty butterbeer bottles for a moment. Then Hermione said, But last year your scar hurt when nobody was touching you. And didn't Dumbledore say it had to do with Didn't Dumbledore say it had to do with what who was feeling at the time? I mean, maybe this hasn't got anything to do with Umbridge at all. Maybe it's just coincidence. It happened while you were with her. She's evil, said Harry flatly, twisted. She's horrible, yes, but... Harry, I think you ought to tell Dumbledore your scar hurt. It was the second time in 2 days he had been advised to go to Dumbledore, and his answer to Hermione was just the same as his answer to Ron. I'm not bothering him with this. Like you just said, it's not a big deal. It's been hurting on and off all summer. It was just a bit worse tonight, that's all. Harry, I'm sure Dumbledore would want to be bothered with this. Yeah, said Harry, before he could stop himself. That's the only bit of me Dumbledore cares about, isn't it? My scar. Don't say that. It's not true. I think I'll write and tell Sirius about it, see what he thinks. Harry, you can't put something like that in a letter, said Hermione, looking alarmed. Don't you remember? Moody told us to be careful what we put in writing. We just can't guarantee owls aren't being intercepted anymore. All right, I won't tell him then, said Harry irritably. He got to his feet. I'm going to bed. Tell Ron for me, will you? Oh, no, said Hermione, looking relieved. If you're going, that means I can go too, without being rude. I'm absolutely exhausted, and I want to make some more hats tomorrow. Listen, you can help me if you like. It's quite fun. I'm getting better. I can do patterns and bubbles and all sorts of things now. Harry looked into her face, which was shining with glee, and tried to look as though he was vaguely tempted by this offer. No, I don't think I will, thanks, he said. Not tomorrow. I've got loads of homework to do. And he traipsed off to the boys' stairs, leaving her look slightly disappointed. End of chapter. End of read for today. So good things happening to Ron. Yay for Ron becoming... This is Ron's year, yo. This is Ron's year. He's got prefect. He's now keeper. By the way, Alicia Winquest gave me this wand, and also gave Mark his wand. Check it out. It's a real thing. Of course, it's real, but it's the genuine one. Made out of plastic. This is a bad year for Harry. Holy smokes! This is sucking really starting off really sucky. That's what I wanted to say.
Sucking real hard.
All right, do you have any questions? I'm a pre-med student, so I get to stay inside, but still scared for the others. Yeah, stay strong, Bruno, as Jenny says. The name Dolores is the Spanish word for pain, sorrow in it. What's... I don't know. The name Dolores. The UK government is a farce, and people keep having illegal massive raise. What's the core? What's the core of your wand? What do you? Would you try for the team? Would you try for the team to play? Oh yeah, for sure. I'd probably be one of the bludger guys. You know, throwing the bludger or hitting the bludger at people. I'd be one of the bludgers.
Beaters.
The beaters. I'd be the bludger beater. That's probably what my role would be. My role would be. Do you ever leave the house and forget you have the scar drawn on? Yes. I go for walks all the time right after this because... Oh, let's see if Dexter noticed me saying that. Hey, Dexter. Let's see. Hey, Dexter. You want to go for a walk? Oh, he's excited. He's excited. He's excited. Yes, I do. I go for walks all the time, forgetting that people are like, oh, you've got something in your head. I'm like, oh, no, yeah. Unicorn tail, dragon heartstring, wildebeest tusk, giant nose hair. This...
Harry's wand, so...
Harry's wand?
Harry's has a...
It has the tears of maggots
No.
in it. And it has a huge responsibility to its mother.
It has a feather from...
From a prepubescent raptor.
A phoenix. Which specific phoenix?
The phoenix that from X-Men.
Fox.
Yeah, as I said.
From Fox.
That's what I said. That is what I said.
And who has the other one?
The other one? The other what?
The other one that has the other phoenix feather. The
Oh.
phoenix only gave 2.
Yeah,
What's
the
other?
right. The other person is Neville's grandmother. Neville's grandmother.
End the stream.
And the
Just end it.
just finish it. Okay, friends. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Mark. And you are loved. You have purpose. You have meaning. All the best. Love you all.